Daddy started out in San Francisco, tooting on his trumpet loud and mean.
Suddenly a voice said, "Go for it, Daddy, spread the picture on a wider screen."
And the voice said, Daddy...
Hello my friends, I'm here doing part of our community link and I'm going to interview Sue, our much loved interviewer. So let's see how I go. I'm just going to put my glasses on. Do I look official now?
You do indeed. I'm frightened now.
All right, Sue, are you ready?
I'm ready to roll.
And your first question is, how long have you been playing with the New Horizons Band?
Guessing now, I would say nearly coming up to 3 years with the band. And that's as long as I've been playing any instrument and as long as I've been playing my clarinet.
Oh, well, that's
3
exciting.
years.
And how did you hear about the band?
Well, it's a longish story.
We've got time.
My granddaughter goes to Guy North School, and one of her friends, his grandmother, put a note online asking someone who lived in the area, was new to the area, if they'd like to come along and have a cup of coffee. Oh. So I was a bit game for that, and I said, yeah, I'll come along. So I met this quiet little English lady up at Hazelhurst here at Gymea, and we got talking, and she said that she played in the local band and she played a clarinet. Mm-hmm. So I was very excited about that because I'd always wanted to play an instrument. Her name, of course, Tricia Entwistle, one of the basic and very strong members of the Shire band. And luckily, Carol was having a orientation the next few days.
Oh, right.
So I went along to the orientation and tried the flute, and I thought, no, if I can't see what I'm doing, I'm not going to be any good on a flute. I didn't like playing raspberries I couldn't do that for a trumpet, so that was out. The clarinet, I love a saxophone. I didn't want to start mucking around with the saxophone and just make a horrible noise all the time. So that by elimination was the clarinet, and I've really enjoyed playing that. So that's how I started, and the rest is history. Started through group 1, then group 2, and I consider myself in group 2.5.
Oh. So did you play an instrument as a child?
Well, like many of the children of the 50s, we played the recorder. That was about it.
Beautifully, I'm sure. Yeah,
so we were in a recorder band and we all had a grade beret. I don't think we were terribly melodious. There was no such thing as dynamics in a recorder. It's just it.
There
it's just
isn't.
One sound.
That's not you. What does music mean to you in your life?
Well, having an older brother who loved jazz, the house was always filled with jazz, and with the old record player, he'd be putting his LPs on, and it was just something that you, like osmosis, it's just something you absorb because you're living in that environment all the time. So then my husband liked jazz, and so we always had jazz playing in our house of some sort. A whole range of different styles. Yes, I think the older jazz, I like the big band and vocalists of the era. So sort of the 50s and 60s would be more my era. I don't like when a saxophone gets crazy.
Yes, the most notes doesn't win.
No. So it's usually more emotive jazz that I relate to.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So was there a particular time when you and your brother would enjoy
Well, usually during the washing up. Just to prolong it, of course. We all love prolonging that job. But we'd get out the knives and be washing up. You'd have a couple of knives and you'd just go around the kitchen. Everything was a percussion sound, whether it was a bottle or a wall or a cup or a window or the floor. You just go around the room with the drumstick knives. So, so that was always great fun.
It sounds like a thing that we might be able to set as homework for our percussion ensemble.
Yes, indeed. The greatest variety of percussion sounds. Yes.
So in your musical experience, what's been your favourite thing so far?
Within the band, it would be playing in the ensemble. The first time we played Bring Him Home, I didn't play it particularly well, but I was so emotionally involved with it, I ended up in tears at the end. So I still remember that with great affection. And it wasn't my playing that had anything to do with that. It was just hearing the weaving of the instruments. And that's another thing that music's done to me. It's made me a better listener.
Yes.
So now if I'm playing music, I can hear the instruments coming in, I can hear the dynamics, I can hear what's happening and the layers of music within the piece. So that's something that's been really very important for me. That's something that I've learned there. Going on camp, of course, is always great fun, getting to hear other people's stories, seeing people playing up. Certainly wouldn't include myself in that, of
Never.
course. But seeing people relax, I think my first one was a lot of fun because Jack and John had a gig going with Lisa. We had our lovely meal and then we sat around playing Trivia Pursuit on the head
Oh,
there,
yes.
a celebrity head, and listening to these wonderful people. You know, so that was a very warm experience for me.
And we will do it again. I promise we will do it again. All right. So what about musical experiences you've had outside of New Horizons?
I was very lucky. Mum was involved in musical theatre as a dancer, and she used to dance back in the 30s, the 20s and 30s, with amateur theatre groups and with the local bank in the city. And so she made me learn, it didn't make me, but I learned ballet from a very early age, right through into my late teens. I went from classical, loved tap, hence the rhythms, did classical, tap and modern jazz. And once I started on the modern jazz, that was where my love went. So then I started doing classes in the city with Val Tweedy and some great jazz ensembles there. But life got in the way. I started teaching and it was just too hard to get into the city all the time. So I've always loved jazz. I love the classics because of the emotion that comes up and the mastery of those wonderful composers. So outside band would be my dancing experience. I don't do much tap these days. I'd like to get back, but not now. And then, of course, listening to live music, going to the stadium in the old days, listening to American performers coming over. The young people wouldn't even know what the stadium was or where it was.
Did you have a favourite performer there?
I saw Sammy Davis Jr. there.
Wow.
And he was wonderful because they were filming it at the time. And because, as you know, the stage rotates slightly. And as they kept on moving it, they were keeping the camera and his idiot board, I suppose. A lot of what he was trying to do was on his blind side. So he stopped everything. So everything could rearrange, readjust. So it was on his good side. Dave Brubeck and his ensemble, Peter Nero at the Town Hall, which was the only big venue that they had in those days. So Tony Bennett, I saw him up at the Cross. So a lot more. I've seen him twice actually, in the early days and then later. So yes, and then also going to this part of the Sydney Festival, going to the Domain and seeing the jazz there with Ricky May and Symphony Under the Stars. So everything's sort of connected with alcohol, friends and eating and music. So it's sort of like a big party,
It
really.
sounds like my life. Aren't we lucky?
Great experiences, yes.
All right. So do you have a favourite music or performer?
Wow. Only a few years ago when I was teaching, we used to have quiet music while the children were reading. I was teaching year 1 at the time. And I used to play Bach or a little bit of Chopin, whatever, and they'd read along to that. And then one day I thought, look, I might try something a bit more exciting with them. So I thought I'd only just discovered, I had only just discovered Queen. So I started very quietly playing Where Will Rock You, and then all of a sudden the whole class going... I said, okay, right. So they've got a very solid musical education, these kids. So, no, that would be my favourite performer and my favourite experience too.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, so what's your greatest challenge with your music?
I think it's trying to get myself to rehearse every day, to practice every day. I've sort of changed my thinking. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, I've got to do 20-minute scales, I now tick off all the benefits that I'm going to be more proficient, I'm going to get those notes more easily, I'm going to have a clearer sound, and so on, without making it a great long lengthy. So I'm trying to put a positive spin on our practice. Michelle Aitken has been running a little Zoom session, which has been fabulous, so that she'll post what songs we're doing that particular session, and so that gives us something, just rather like you do. You've got the program that you work with, so that's been great, and a couple of the clarinet players are doing that. So that's been getting my B natural moving is going to be my hardest thing. So with
it
older
will
fingers,
come. It will come.
Yes,
It will
when they slide it in there. So that's my greatest challenge is just becoming up to whether I've put my aim is too high.
Never.
But I'm trying to improve and get a little bit better all the time.
You can never aim too high.
And I think the other thing I'd like to do is be able to play some really good jazz riffs. So we'll work on that.
Yeah. Well, and what about the benefits you've found?
Oh, wow. So they're innumerable. Having lived on the northern beaches for most of my life, and then in the country, I've now moved here with my daughter and her 2 young girls, and so I've had to build up a whole new community. So I do that through the band, and that's sort of spreading a little bit wider too. Now they're becoming not just acquaintances or people that I play with, but Facebook friends, and there's more of a communication going on there. So that's what the band does, is gets that community going, a few laughs. The trivia nights are always fun. I've always enjoyed those. The mental stimulation, I think, and mental health, I think, is very important too. Know that you've got a challenge and you've achieved something. I think that's a great feeling. You sort of sloth around in the morning and think, oh, I can't be bothered doing anything, but then you actually force yourself and you think, well done there, you're good.
Good job.
There's another tick for the day. So yeah, so they're the benefits for me: the social side, mental health, and learning to play and enjoy playing music, bring him home without crying.
It's always good to cry. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our time with Sue. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about her. I know I have. And tune in for the next exciting interview. I wonder who it could be.
I wonder who it could be. Ooh. It might be you.
Bye.
The picture on a wider screen.
And the voice said, Daddy, there's a million pigeons waiting to be hooked on new religions. Hit the road, Daddy, leave your common law wife. Spread the religion of the rhythm of life. And the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Puts a tingle in your fingers and a tingle in your feet. Rhythm in your bedroom, rhythm in the street. Yes, the rhythm of life is a powerful beat.
To feel the rhythm of life,
To feel the powerful beat. To feel the tingle in your fingers. To feel the tingle in your feet. Daddy, go, 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 go. Daddy spread the gospel in Milwaukee. Took his walkie-talkie to Rocky Ridge.
blew his way to Canton, then to Scranton, till he landed under the Manhattan Bridge.
Daddy was a new sensation, got himself a congregation, built up quite an operation down below.
With the quiet piper blowing while the muscatel was flowing, all the cats were go-go-going.
Down below!
Daddy was a new sensation, got himself a congregation. With the quiet and operation, down below. Daddy with a quiet piper blowing, while the muscatel was flowing, all the cats were go-go-going down below.
Flip your wings and fly to Daddy. Flip your wings and fly to Daddy. Flip your wings and fly to Daddy. Fly, fly, fly to Daddy. Take a dive and swim to Daddy. Take a dive and swim to Daddy. Take a dive and swim to Daddy.
Swim, swim, swim to Daddy.
Hit the floor and crawl to Daddy.
Hit the floor and crawl to Daddy. Hit the floor and crawl to Daddy. Crawl, crawl, crawl to Daddy.
Sick-a-dig-a-ding-dottin'. Split it, split it, split it. Sick-a-dig-a-ding-ding. And the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Puts a tingle in your fingers and a tingle in your feet. Rhythm in your bedroom, rhythm in the street. Yes, the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. To feel the rhythm of life, to feel that powerful beat, to feel the tingle in your fingers, to feel the tingle in your feet. Flip your wings and fly to your daddy. Take a dive and swim to your daddy. Hit